Welcome to People I Know Show, a podcast about interesting people, personal growth, and being wrong. I'm Curt Karstensen. This episode is episode 26, and it's being released on April 12th, 2019, which is the 18th birthday of my oldest niece, Mikayla Torfin, and Mikayla will be the guest for this episode. If I can think back, 18 seems to be a very eventful point in life. I think for many it means graduating from high school and deciding where to go to college and then what to study. And I think, at least in the American culture, 18 is a number that best represents independence or adulthood. Mikayla and I discuss some of those topics, plus, beginning with this episode, I'm going to be putting a greater emphasis on personal growth, both on what I'm doing and what I've done, and what my guest has done and is doing. And today's Being Wrong segment is also on video. You'll be able to find that on the People I Know Show Facebook page or on the People I Know Show YouTube channel. Now, let's get into my conversation with Mikayla Torfin. Today on People I Know Show, I am joined by Mikayla Torfin. Hi, Mikayla.
Hi, Curt.
We are speaking a little more than 24 hours before you turn 18. By the time anyone hears us talk, you will be 18. So we're talking here is you're about to be an 18-year-old. What does that mean to you?
You know, I honestly can say that probably 6 years ago, when I was in 6th or 5th grade, I was always thinking, oh my gosh, I would love to be 18. Like, I would love to be a senior in high school. Like, that'd be so cool. Like, I can't wait for that day to come. And now the day's here, and I graduate on June 6th, and being 18 in 2 days is awfully terrifying. Like, much more than I thought it was going to be. I was always looking forward to it, and now I'm like, oh, this is scary. I'm going to be an adult, and I have to make decisions on my own, and I'll have to start paying for stuff on my own, not relying on my dear mama to pay for my things anymore. And then I go to college, and it's scary, but it's exciting.
So do you think the moment you turn 18, your mom's not going to pay for anything for you ever again?
I mean, I'm still on her insurance, I think, so that's good. No, she'll come visit me, I'm sure, and I'll be back a lot. I'm not going that far, so yeah.
When I was thinking about this, that you being 18, it brings me back to a moment in time or a photo that I'm searching for and hopefully will find so I can put it out on Facebook and Instagram with the other photos I share alongside this interview. It's a picture of me as an 18-year-old on my graduation day from high school where I'm holding little baby Mikayla.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't remember exactly what I would have been thinking way back then. But I know some thought like, what year will it be when Mikayla's 18 type of thing would have come through my mind. And being that it's now 18 years later, and you're so far away from being that little baby that entered our lives, and now you're a woman. I don't know. Do you become a woman at 18? Is like that's a cornerstone, or what is
young adult?
Young adult.
Like Michael always says, young adult.
You're going to be. It's a different level of independence is going to be there for you, or coming awfully soon.
Yeah.
So it's just such a weird thing to think about life in that way.
I know, it's like, who came up with that? Like, who made 18 the number? Like, why isn't it 25? Why isn't it 16? Like, why do you get your license when you're 16? It's very interesting. I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, why does 18 define me as being an adult? You know? It's like, who made ages? Like, you know?
Those are good. Now you're thinking the way that I think, Mikayla. Like those somewhere someone decided something, and for most of the history after that, we just follow along. Someone else creates something, and the rest of us just act like that's the only way it ever possibly could be. Like, yeah, 18 doesn't mean that much as it is, but in this culture, because most people graduate high school right around 18, it is meaningful. Plus the other thing, and this is what we are planning for your 18th birthday. I think we did the same thing for my 18th birthday, and your mom's 18th birthday, and my brother Chuck and your Uncle Chuck's 18th birthday. Because there's a certain rite of passage by having your ID that says you're 18, one of the things that we always do is we go to a casino because you can flash your ID for the first time and they like have to let you in, at least in the state of Minnesota.
Yeah, at least in the state of Minnesota. You know, it's funny because we kind of grew up around that sort of, in a way, casinos in general. And I've always been like, oh my gosh, when I'm 18, like I can actually walk around here like with you guys, like without having to stay in the hotel or like go to the pool or like the arcade. And I can admit when you're 17 years old, going to the arcade isn't always fun, especially if it's not very exciting. So I'm excited. I get to go this weekend for the first time, of course. So yeah.
And that'll be really the big thing. I assume you're not going to be buying like tobacco products or something.
No.
That's not you. So what else can you do at 18 in Minnesota besides show your ID and get into like a casino or maybe an 18 plus night at some club downtown?
A club.
Did you plan to do that?
Well, there's a new country club downtown called Wild Greg's and I really want to go. So they have a mechanical bull there you can ride. So I'm excited.
Have you ever ridden a mechanical bull before?
Nope. No, I can't say that I have.
Okay. Well, I have. And you don't need to be good at it to do it.
Okay.
And it'll be quite obvious how good or not good you are when you fall off in a matter of seconds.
Oh my goodness.
So I look forward to hearing about or possibly seeing that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this 18 and graduating from high school thing.
Mm-hmm.
What else does that mean? I guess I know some of what you've been doing and planning, but we haven't talked a lot about the fact that you've now chosen a university that you're going to. You've chosen what you're going to study. What has led up to that? How do you decide what you want to do with your life?
Good question. I didn't know about like what I was going to do until probably 3 months ago, including the school. I actually applied to Minnesota State University in Mankato, and I applied last year in August, and I got accepted a week later. So they accepted me right away. And I thought about it because I applied to Florida Gulf Coast University, and I applied to Colorado Mesa University. So I applied to some out-of-state schools, and then reluctantly decided to go 1 hour away from my home instead.
Reluctantly?
Yeah.
So you were thinking you really wanted to go far away, but then you decided to not go that far away.
I was pretty convinced that like when I toured those two schools, I loved it. I was like, oh, I'm going out of state. Like I want to go out of state. That's what I'm going to do. And then a few months later, I was like, that's not really what I want to do. I decided Mankato is a school I really loved, and it offers a lot of athletic opportunities. Not that I'm going to do athletics, but to go to sporting events. And it's an athletic rounded school. And I've always been around athletics, like growing up, like I always did sports. So I was super interested in it. And then I decided that nursing was what I wanted to do. And I applied they have a nursing learning community at Mankato, and only 25 girls get accepted into it. And I was one of those girls. So I was like, okay, well, now I kind of just got to go there. I have all these opportunities, and it's really exciting. So I actually just found out my roommate today. So yeah, she's really cute.
And I guess you don't need to get the details of this person who you don't even know yet, but what's that process been like to be assigned a roommate? Or did you have to like fill out a questionnaire and then they figure out who's your best fit, or how does that all go?
Well, in our day and age, we have social media now. So it was actually probably easier than it was maybe for you to find a roommate. I don't know if you got to pick or what you got to do.
I never lived on campus.
Okay.
And that is something that I think I missed out on. Yeah. So I'm happy for you that you get that experience.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, because I'm in a learning community, there's only certain girls that I can live with, obviously, that are going to want to live in the community as well. So I don't really know who they are because I didn't have anybody that I knew personally going into the nursing learning community, because we live on the same floor. So we live on the same dorms, like on the same floor. So I was going in kind of blindsided, and then you had until April 4th to find a roommate, and I didn't know anybody. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to go for it. So they assigned me one, and I found out today, and they had her phone number. So I reached out to her, and I think she lives in Illinois. So, and her name is Abby. So I've kind of started to get to know her, but it was definitely stressful for sure. I was I was debating. I was like, I don't know. Do I want to like just get with a random person? Because what if we have nothing in common? Or what if she's like weird? Like
this person who you just became aware of today has a real good chance of being like your newest best friend.
Yep.
Or the person that you realize, I got to be really careful with my roommates in the future because we don't get along at all.
Yes. Yeah.
And you get to learn about that.
And
that's a life lesson.
Yeah, it's true. She just texted me, actually. She said, I have a futon and a TV and possibly an Xbox. So I'm like, okay, good. We're best friends.
That's all you need to be best friends?
Yeah. No.
Okay. And you are going for nursing.
Yes.
I didn't realize this was a great level of interest for you until I heard that this is what you were doing. How is it that you decided that that was what you wanted to pursue?
I am very fond of caring for others and the idea of helping others and like being able to help people heal. And say being a doctor, I feel like that's not as much on like the caring aspect. Like I like the nursing. I like that almost the idea of nursing, like behind it, like being there, being present with them, like actually having a lot of one-on-one contact. And I almost think more than doctors do. And I was looking back at a journal that we've been keeping every year that Mom has for us. And it actually said, when was it like 5th grade? It said, you can check off what you want to be. And I was like, nurse. So it went from like vet to teacher to nurse to lawyer, then back to nurse. And so it was funny because I had thought about it. I don't know. I like communicating with others too. Like I really love talking to people and getting to know who they are and being like that one-on-one contact. I love. Like I think I'm good at it. Like I know I'm good at it. So it's just exciting for me.
You like connecting with people.
I love connecting with people. I love connecting with people on deeper levels too. And being able to, just the thought of healing. Like that's what nurses do. They heal and they care for others. So I love that.
And is there a particular aspect of nursing that you think you'll pursue more so than others, or if you've not really gotten into that so much?
Oh, for sure. Pediatrics, working with kids. I would love to work with kids and children. I mean, I wouldn't like refrain from working with adults, but I would much rather work with kids, like labor and delivery, like working with babies, like pediatrics would be amazing. And it's sometimes hard to get in there because a lot of people want to do pediatrics, obviously. I mean, kids are fun and not everybody likes it. So then that gives me more opportunity too, because then I can hopefully try to do it. Work with kids. Because you can specialize. So you specialize, say, in pediatrics and you try to work in that unit, or you can work in like ER, like the emergency room, which I think would be cool too. I like the go, like the hustle too. So I think if I didn't do pediatrics, I'd like to do ER.
Do you spend a lot of time thinking about this, like leading up to this choosing a school and the major that you're going to pursue? Has it been weighing heavily on you for weeks and months or a year? Like, what's that been like?
It's been very, I would say, stressful. It's hard because you have to pick a school, at least for now, that you're going to be at. And it's stressful. And deciding, if nursing is something I really want to do I want to apply for the nursing learning community? Because once you're in the learning community, it's a mentorship. So once you're in it, you're taking the nursing classes to then get a nursing degree. So if I don't decide that nursing is not what I really want and I want something else, then I'm going to have to get out of the community, and I've wasted those classes and might not be able to use them to something else I like. So it's, for me, I'm not going in undecided. I'm going in with the hopes to be a nurse. So it's been stressful trying to decide, is this really what I want to do? Like, can I see myself doing this? Not knowing who my roommate is. And my friends are like, oh yeah, I've met this person on Facebook because they have a Facebook page. And I'm like, oh yeah, haven't met anybody to be my roommate. So there's a lot. It's been busy, and then planning graduation. It's definitely a busy time period.
And as you're planning this, you become more and more experienced as a high schooler.
Yes.
You've been at the same high school now for a few years and made all these friends. As that's the process that I guess most everyone, at least in this country, goes through, where you become very comfortable in a certain aspect of education, and then you're forced to leave. They gave you a degree, but they kick you out, and then you got to go from there. I was never a 13, 14, 15, 16, or 17, or 18-year-old girl. But I'd imagine that experience is a little bit different than it was for me as a boy. You're a few months away from some of these close friends of yours. You're not going to see them that much anymore. That's the reality of it. Do you think about that too?
It's interesting that you bring that up. If I'm being honest, I've been having some trouble actually with my friends in general, because it's weird. It's like you hit this point in senior year and then everybody kind of like changes. They're like, oh, we know we're going away to school. So they almost change, like your friendships change in general. Like my best friend, McKenna, is going to UND. She just committed there yesterday. And
North Dakota.
That's 6 hours away. So I won't, and for me, it'll be 7 because I'm also an extra hour away from here. So that's far.
I think you drive slow. It's not that far away. It's far away. It's not quite that far. Yeah, it's long enough that it's not going to be an easy trip.
It's long enough, and if we want to see each other, it's going to be, it's going to be far. And then one of my other close friends is also going there, which is kind of weird because 2 of my best friends that I've had for a long time now are both going to the same school, and I'm not going there. So it's like, it's interesting to think about. It's like, am I going to lose those friendships, or those ones that are going to be staying with me? I'm very strong though on my own for sure. Like I know I'm going to meet a ton of new people, so I'm not really worried. It's just, it's gotten to a part where it's sad, you don't know, you've known these people for 4, 2, 3 years.
Are any of your friends also going to MSU Mankato?
Yes. So my friend Taylor is also going there, and we actually thought about rooming together, but she's not going to be a nurse, so that I'll have her there.
I don't know her, but it's good that
she's on dance team.
I think it's best to do the route that you're doing.
Yeah.
If I can go back and live my life, I roomed my first year of college with 3 of my buddies from high school, and it was perfectly fine, but I don't think it was the best thing for me.
Yeah. Yeah. The only reason we thought about it, actually, I think, was because we don't know each other as much, and we were going to do it as like a learning opportunity, like to get to know each other, because we were on dance team, but we're not like best friends. So, but she's, it's
the way you're going. I think it'll be better. You're throwing yourself in the fire a little bit. At least you'll know her and maybe some other people you could still hang out with a little bit. But I think, the way you're doing it will be much better for you in the long run.
Yeah.
So good job.
I'm very excited. It's scary, but it's exciting.
And you mentioned the dance team. You've been a part of that at your high school for many years now. And I was there, I think, for your final dance a few weeks back. And that's a very intensive program. It's a lot of practicing. And what was that been like to be a part of? Like that was your big group for years, for your years at your high school.
Yes, it was truly an amazing experience. I been a part of that team for 6 years, so since 7th grade, and not a lot of people can say that. I know that the 12 seniors this year that we had, which was a huge graduating class for just dance team, like a huge class of seniors, 12 of us weren't on the team all for 6 years. Some of us were, but a lot of us started together too. I think about half of us started, and then some of them started a couple years ago. But the program is very intense. We practice 6 days a week, 3 hours after school every day. And then we have meets on Saturdays that usually go from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. at night. And it's a workout. People definitely underestimate the athletic level of dance team. And it's funny because not everybody will think of it as a sport, but it is a varsity sport, and you do letter in it. And there's varsity kick, high kick, and then varsity jazz. So it's strenuous. You're tired, your body hurts, and you're tired for several months. So the season's it's not supposed to be all year round, but it feels like it's a year round sport.
And I certainly didn't make it to every one of your events over the years, but I would be there a few times per year. And I'm no expert on it, but I could tell how much better you were getting every year. Like you were definitely doing whatever you needed to do to continue to improve. And by the end of it, you were really good. And now I guess it ends, and you're not going to be doing much dancing anymore, at least in that capacity.
Yes. I definitely did improve tremendously over the years. I didn't come from a lot of dance experience. I did Just for Kicks, which is little girls in tutus, like having fun out there. But there's girls that came from competition backgrounds, and then there's girls who didn't dance at all. That's the nice thing. I would say the nice thing about our team is that our coaches offer that. Whereas other teams, you like have to have a competition like background, like a studio background. And our team, you didn't have to. You can come on the team and never have danced before. And the coaches, that's how amazing they are at teaching us how to dance, like how to perform. And it's not even so much about the performance. What I've learned from that team about being a teammate and being a leader and being a part of a team is what I really take away from that team. Yes, dancing is amazing, and my confidence has risen like tremendously from that, from performing on the floor to always having those competition butterflies every time before I walk out on the floor. Like, it just taught me to be a more confident person. And I just shine out there on the floor. Like, I'm really going to miss it because I'm not continuing to do that in college. So it was an amazing part of my life for sure.
One of the skills that I think you learned by being in dance that I still need to work on, and I'm working on a little bit, is I don't know if it's a real smile or a fake smile, but the dance teams, everyone on those teams are the masters of always smiling, even in situations where it seems like it'd be difficult to smile.
Facials. You do not know how many times we hear from our coaches, facials, girls, come on now. Smiling is on our score sheet. So we have a score sheet. Facial like presence on the floor is points. Those are points. You get tallied by judges that are Minnesota, like athletic judges that are qualified, and that's one of the categories is literally facials, your smile. So you learn very quick that that's something that you are supposed to be doing.
Has that helped you then in other aspects of your life, just being aware of what your face might look like in a moment and try to make sure you're representing yourself as positively as you can?
For me, yes, I think that it's taught me to like be facially aware of myself, but I'm also a very smiley person. Unlike, not everybody is like super out, like bubbly, like outgoing, like, oh, I'm going to smile all the time, like happy. I just happen to be like that. But I would say that you definitely become more aware of like your presence, like your body, like your face, everything, just by being a dancer, because that's what you are. You don't use a basketball, you don't use a soccer ball, like you make the moves, like that's your talent.
So that's one skill that you can carry forward, even not while you're dancing. What about the type of dancing that I would do at some sort of event or a wedding? How do you feel? Has your dancing in normal social dance settings improved greatly because of your
chicken dance?
Yes. Well, I don't know about the chicken dance.
The Macarena.
Yeah. Are you better at the Macarena now than you were a few years ago?
I mean, I can say I am because I have that experience. I can be like, oh, I'm better at this because I was on the dance team. No, I'm not cocky.
I don't know.
What are you trying to say?
But do you I get, when I think about dancing, I think I see you dance. I see your team dance. That's like rehearsed and perfected.
Yes, very much so.
But then next time one of our relatives gets married and we're on the dance floor, that's a totally different thing. And I think moving forward in your life, you'll be doing that a lot more often than what you've been doing the last few years in high school.
Yes, I mean, they're two very different things. You can go out on the dance floor and dance all you want, Curdy, but you don't practice and rehearse like we do. We have set we have set dances. We drill and drill and drill, and that is clean. We clean our moves. We want to be the best that we can be. We want to be top in the state. We want to be top in our section. And I don't want to say it's unfortunately. I think it's definitely been a challenge. We are one of the top conferences in the state. So it's just happened to be harder for us to get to state, I would say. I mean, Wayzata, Eden Prairie, and Edina and Minnetonka all offer a lot of it's very competitive. So I would say, yes, dancing on the dance floor at a wedding is really fun, but dance team was my sport. So
did you think about pursuing that and in college at all, or is there still some possibility that you would do something there?
For my first year, I wasn't good. They do have a dance team at Mankato. They actually won nationals in Palm, which is a type of dancing. And I thought about trying out for the team, but being at nursing school is hard as it is. So it's going to be a challenge, and I want to be really focused on my academics. But I could always decide to try out next year if I wanted to and see if I make it or not. But I do have a lot of dance background, so we'll see. It depends on how much I miss it, I guess.
You are my oldest niece. I have 6 nieces and nephews. You're the oldest one. And I think based on the fact that you're the oldest and the fact that for a few years ago, I was around a lot, staying with you guys quite a bit, that I maybe know you the best. So what can you tell me about me in the role in your life? Honestly, don't say anything to make me sound good. I've been around you a fair amount in your life.
Yes, for a very long time, I would say. It's without getting into a lot of family detail. My dad's side of the family, they've lived in different states. So my uncles, I haven't got to be around as much as I've got the opportunity to be around you and Chuck in general. And then I got the opportunity to be around you even more. So I would say that for a long, long time, I thought of you as and I still do, as a very important, like a male adult in my life, like a father figure almost to me. And that's crazy to say because you're my uncle, but you are my uncle. So I would say I saw you more than I saw my own dad. So
for a stretch of time,
especially we were together. So I would, I trusted you, and you were somebody that I can come to if I had any questions. And yeah, it was, I would say, very strong male figure in my life. And I'm very thankful for you. So love you lots, Curdy. Don't cry on me now.
I'm not going to cry right now. That's not me. But maybe later, if I listen back to this, I probably will.
Yeah.
So is there anything that you can think that you learned from me? Like if I was this person for you in your life, is there anything good like this you can specifically say, oh yeah, I learned that because of Uncle Curt?
How to eat all the leftovers. No. I would say, I think for us, we weren't afraid to butt heads. And if we both had our opinions, we would share that with each other, all out of love. But I think that's something I remember a lot, is we were both very opinionated people. So I definitely have learned a lot of how to almost be, I don't know how to, like, adult, like, character, like, aspects, like how you, ways you're supposed to, like, act, like ways that you're supposed to, like, be an adult, and like what's wrong, and like if I'm doing something like, Mikayla, you're being a brat, like you'll make sure to tell me that. And like I think I learned almost in a way how to be more mature because of you. Because I
was trying to treat you like an adult when you were 13 or 14.
Yes, you definitely pushed that.
That probably wasn't the right approach, but
but you weren't, you were like learning to be a dad of a teenager. And I gotta tell you, whoever's listening to this, if you are a father, you know that being a dad of a teenager is not the easiest thing.
Especially of you.
No. And it's not your own kid. I would say it's like, if you're gonna get married to somebody who already had kids previously, it's like, okay, I'm going into this marriage, like they already have kids previously, and you're like the uncle. So you're like, these are like my nieces and nephews. Am I supposed to be hard on them, or am I supposed to be easy on them? And you weren't afraid to tell us what to do and what we were doing wrong. So I think it's very funny that you bring this up.
Yeah, and in those times when I was around you a lot more, a lot of it is just reacting. And if you get a combination of people together and someone's not in a good mood, that just kind of goes to it's contagious to everybody. Yes. And I think we're all very vulnerable. I think us when we were together a lot, and with your mom and your brother, but also with, I think, any group of people. If it's one person's maybe more negative attitude, we're all at risk of letting that like hit us and take us over if we're not very aware of the situation and find methods to avoid that happening.
Something else that you did coming off of this too that I just thought of was, I remember when you did, like when we were no longer with each other as much, I cried like when you left, like when we were living together, and I cried because you're important to me. Like when I remember when it first all started happening, I was like, no, like I don't want this to happen. Like I want a big room, like everything. And I don't know.
You got your way anyhow. You always got your way.
I love that you say that. See, this is oh, Curt.
Maybe not always, but it seemed like you were pretty good at it.
I'm not supposed to pick favorites. I'm sorry, Chuck. I'm not picking a favorite, but I do love Curdy a lot. So I think it's hard for me to say specifics, but you know that I'm very thankful for you.
It's a special bond because we did spend a lot of time together.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Tons of time. So, and I'm lucky. Like I'm lucky to have that, be able to have that time in that relationship, because not everybody can say that they get to spend that much time with like their uncle. Like our family just is very close in general, I would say. And not everybody has that. So that's something else I'm very thankful for as well.
I think when you say that, I can agree, but I don't know what everybody else has. I don't really analyze what other people's family situations are. So I don't like, and we can get into this now too for the last several years for you and all of my nieces and nephews, I do what I used to call a birthday outing, but because oftentimes it's months away from someone's birthday, it's just like an annual outing where once a year, instead of giving you a birthday gift of some other kind, we're going to spend the day together doing whatever it is you want, basically. And then I'll like post the photos from the day on Facebook, and everyone chimes in, oh, you're such an amazing uncle. And maybe that's true. I don't really know. It just seemed like, because as your dog Roxy keeps running up and down the stairs here, apparently everyone else has forgotten to try to keep her away. That's fine. She's more calm than she usually is. But what I was saying is I don't have my own kids, and I recognize that. How can I demonstrate that I love my nieces and nephews, but also if I don't like spend time with all of you for even this just one day, and I see you a lot more than that, but one day per year where I devote to each one of you, how will I ever really get to know you? Because I think it's hard. It's hard for 30-something-year-old me to get to know teenager niece and nephew, or just there's a big age difference. And even when we're together, sometimes the topics of conversation at a certain age, like I think now it's going to get easier and easier as you're getting older. But a few years ago, we didn't have a lot to talk about. No,
just about how much you absolutely loved us.
Did we talk about that?
I don't know. You've told me a few times, I think, that you love me.
Probably.
How many times are heartfelt, and how many times you just want my like sour gummy worms or my French fries, then that's a little bit of a different story. When you say,
I don't know if it's always about food like that.
Uncle Curdy Fry.
Oh, is that we developed that with you?
We were in the car one day, and I had McDonald's fries, and you would say, Uncle Curdy Fry, Uncle Curdy Fry, looking at me, expecting you to give me some of my French fries, and I'm like, I only got a large. I want the whole thing.
This is when you were probably much younger, and maybe I would help your mom by helping like meet your dad or something to back and forth on whatever weekend.
Yep.
And then usually I think oftentimes the meeting point would be the McDonald's. And we'd end up getting McDonald's, and we don't do that anymore, I hope, for the most part. It's not the healthiest decision, but I'd be driving, and either you or your brother would be in the back seat, and I would demand French fries from you as my reward for like picking you up.
Yep. It's true. It's
I'd forgotten all about that. That's a good memory.
I always remember that. I always think, and then actually that happened one time for sure, but then you continue to do it a few other times. I can't remember exactly the situation, but it would be something like I had sour gummy worms, and you're like, I want sour gummy worms, like Uncle Curdy gummy worms, and Curt, no, get out of here.
You're a pretty good sharer. Sometimes you're not.
Yeah.
I think you're probably better now.
Better now, except when AJ decides he wants to steal my food, then I'm more, AJ, you can't have my food. I'd probably give you some of my candy, but I keep my
I don't want your candy or your french fries anymore, so please, no more of that.
I remember you having boxes of Snicker bars, and you finally let me have one. For so long, you would buy boxes, I think maybe from Sam's Club, and for so
was a bad idea.
long, I finally got one, and I never stole one out of your room. I totally could have, because I knew where they were, and I just never did it. And then I finally got one day, and I thought I just won the world. I was so excited.
I have no recollection of that. See, what you're going to find out, I'm twice your age now.
Yes.
When you get to be my age, and imagine how much it's going to be when I get older. Some of these things you just don't remember anymore. I don't remember anything about
really?
Snickers bars. And
Really?
you're very clear about that having happened.
Yeah. You hide them in your closet. So I'd find them in the boxes of them for work. I think you used to bring one to work. And I'm like, Curt, why are you bringing Snickers?
I don't know. Why didn't you tell me to stop?
I don't know, because I wanted them.
Okay. We've gone on. Do you remember the birthday outings we've gone over recent years? I remember the one that I think was my, I don't want to say favorite necessarily, but I'm gonna bring this one up. Mm-hmm. The first time I ever truly went horseback riding was with you. That was you wanted to go horseback riding, and I figure out where and how to go horseback riding in the Twin Cities area. And we went out to this place,
Carver County.
Carver County, Southwest Metro.
Yep.
And we rode. There's a group of people, and we rode horses for an hour or so. And I think you loved it. Oh yeah. I was happy to survive.
Oh, come on.
But
Wasn't your horse slow? I'm pretty sure your horse was
they probably gave him the slowest one.
Literally being so slow. I love horses, just so everybody knows. That's my favorite animal. It has always been my favorite animal, and I'm going to have a horse when I'm older. That's actually one of my goals that I set, so having a horse. But yeah, I dragged you along for that. That's so fun.
But it's not like dragging along. Part of the purpose was, I some of these things that my nieces and nephews want to do, I wouldn't necessarily choose to do for myself. But if you want to do it, then I'm right there with you, and I get to learn from it.
Mm-hmm. Like taking me and Chloe to a 5 Seconds of Summer concert, which is a boy band, and they're all just teenage screaming girls, and then there's Uncle Curdy just hanging out with us.
Because they're more famous now. They have a really big hit, I realize.
Really? Okay.
I think one of these songs that it's kind of pop music, everybody kind of knows, but they don't know who sings it.
Yes.
I realize that they have one of those songs. And 2 or 3 years ago, we went to see them, and I'd never heard of them. So I was there before they were as big of a deal. When only teenage girls and me were at the concert.
There were screaming teenage girls filled I think it was XL or Target Center, and there's just Uncle Curdy hanging out. Yep, that was really fun. But yes, back to the horseback riding. I think I'm glad you got to go with me. Had you ever been horseback riding before?
I've been on a horse once, but never really riding over a distance.
Okay.
And yeah,
they only walk. So they weren't, I don't think did they run or trot?
I think they did.
Maybe
and that kind of freaked me out a little bit.
Yeah, very bouncy.
And people that ride horses are probably thinking, boy, Curt's lame. But for me, that was new. And it's just the fact that this is a animal way bigger than I am. I don't really teach you how to control it a little bit, and I guess it probably works. I don't feel like I'm in control of this animal that is way stronger and faster than me.
Yes.
And I'm not a control freak, but when my life is possibly or my health is in danger, I wish I'd like to have a little more control. So that was a very uncomfortable experience for me that I enjoyed some of it, enough of it, but also there's moments of, I just don't want to die.
Wasn't like a necessary fear though. So did you conquer a fear, or no?
No, it's just it was a new thing, and I would do it again. I'm not beating down stable doors to get in and ride more horses anytime soon, but I would do it. It's just I'm happy I did it that day with you, and if I don't do it for many, many years or never again, I'll know that I had that moment doing that with you.
Yes. No, it was exciting. I was glad you were going to, because I think that was actually, I've been horseback riding a few times since then, actually, but I think that was my first time going horseback riding.
I think that's why you really wanted to go.
I was very excited. I was like, oh my gosh, Uncle Curdy's taking me to do this. I think that's, if you want to go back to one of the things I love about you, taking me horseback riding. So
good. I got you on your journey to be a future What are you going to be? A jockey? Probably not a jockey.
Jockey, probably
An
not.
equestrian. What's the term?
I thought about it's equestrian.
All things
equine, something. Equestrian, something.
Yeah, equestrian means of related to horses or something, but I don't know what the term would be if you were.
I thought about being a specific vet for that, but getting into vet school already is challenging. Imagine getting into vet school specifically only for horses is very hard. Challenging. Limited options, basically. Limited acceptance.
Mikayla, let's turn the conversation now. If someone's used to listening to my podcast, and you confessed to me prior to the recording that you haven't spent a whole lot of time listening to people I know, so I guess you're a busy senior in high school. But
yes.
as my tagline is a podcast about interesting people. So what the part we just went through, those are some of the things that I think are most interesting about you at this point in your life, and why someone that might be listening to us talk right now, I'm hoping that that's interesting in them as well. I can't be convinced that anyone finds all of it interesting. I don't know,
right.
But I find those things like this junction in your life that's interesting. The next part of it, the podcast about interesting people, personal growth, and the last one is being wrong. The personal growth part, I do, and throughout the first 25 episodes, I've had aspects of that. I think I had a greater intention of doing more of that. But now this being the first episode since my most recent trip to Scottsdale, Arizona, where you were among a group of us from our family to go to the core strength experience with Michael Bernoff, where that plays big into my personal growth of just being aware of who I am and how I can continue to get better. And I want that to shine through the podcast each episode. So we're going to talk about that specifically, but then I want to understand what efforts you've made for your own personal growth. So as I was thinking about having you on this week, one reason, it's your 18th birthday, the day this episode comes out. But also you were there at the Core Strength Experience, and you've been there a few times as well. And at first as like a first timer, and then eventually in a leadership role.
Yes.
What is it? Why do you go back? What do you gain each time from going there? And for someone that someone's never been there, maybe can't quite understand what happens, just try to express what it feels like to leave that event and how it helps you now in the days and weeks and months ahead.
Yes, if I'm going to start from kind of a beginning perspective, a lot of adults that I've met or teachers say that technology has really influenced my generation specifically, and has also kind of harmed in a way, because I could say being a 9th grader before the first time I went to core, my confidence level was very low. I would be the girl that didn't raise her hand in class. I would not speak up if I had an opinion about something like my teacher said, or if she asked questions. I wouldn't really say anything because I was worried about what other people would think. Going to core and experiencing that for the very first time, I might have not gotten everything that he was saying, but it definitely made an impact on me, because I've gone back several times since. And every time I go there, I've learned that I've been working more and more on my confidence, because I can communicate with people very well and I can stay pretty congruent. But my confidence is something that I've always been working on. And since then, I've grown so much as a person, and I can take those leadership skills that I've learned from there, apply them to dance team. I wasn't a captain, and I was only on varsity kick. I wasn't on varsity jazz, but my coaches gave me all conference for what they say is bringing the positive, infectious attitude that I brought to practice every single day. Like, I was excited to go to practice. I was a leader on the team, and being able to be a leader for those girls then helps me gain my leadership for core specifically, and then to bring on to other people in my life in the future.
So that leadership type of skill, especially being able to voice yourself in that setting, to feel like you can be someone to be a leader among this large group of girls, that's something you think you developed specifically because of going to this core strength experience? And if not for going there, you don't know where that would have come from?
Yeah, I don't think I would have it, honestly. I don't think I would have the confidence and the leadership and the all conference honorable mention and this beautiful letter of recommendation that my coach wrote for me. I don't know that I would have any of that if I didn't go to this, to core, because what you learn there is, it's amazing. Like you don't really understand it until you go, but once you go, it changes your life. Like it changed my life. It really did. And it's even from my aspect, made my relationship with even AJ, my brother, so much stronger. And then my relationship with my cousins, Chloe and Chase, stronger. And then relationship with you and Chuck, stronger. Just family. I feel we can communicate with each other much better than we used to be able to, I think.
And if someone has listened to every episode of the podcast, episode 2 with my brother Chuck, we talked about this, and I think I did have your brother AJ on, like episode, I don't know if that was episode 8 maybe, and we talked about that a little bit too. But the reason I have this podcast, like the reason I had the confidence to even to think that I might have a conversation with someone and then I could put it out to the world and confidently say, hey, listen to this, that stems from going to core strength experience, because I think I used to think I was a confident person.
Yes.
But I probably wasn't. Or I'm certainly more confident now. And it's maybe a combination, more confident, but also just less concern for the possible naysayers of whatever I'm doing with my life.
Yes.
And I don't know if that's innate in me more from my upbringing or if everyone has it, but I used to be a lot more concerned with the possible naysayers, people that might not agree with what I'm doing, the people that I shouldn't really give much care to what they're saying. And now I just less and less, and I see this path forward of possibly doing some good, and I focus on that and less about the detractors that might exist.
Yes. Yeah, I can relate to that for sure. I would say that even with friendships that I've had in the past, from going there and learning how I should be treated and should be respected by even my friends, and like the negativity that people will bring. And it's just something that you learn. It's like a mindset thing, but I don't personally like to surround myself with people that bring me down. Like I want to surround myself with people that bring me up. And so I've actually had to kind of lean away, like depart from some friendships that I've had in the past, because I've learned that that's not what I want. Like I want the positivity. I want like the happiness coming from my friends, like from people that I'm surrounded with. So that's why having my family all go there, it's changed a lot too, because I feel like now we're growing together. Like in my perspective, we're growing together. And it's one of those things where not even everybody that goes to court can say that like their siblings have been there, like their cousins have been there, like their parents have been there, like their grandparents have been there. So having people that are growing with me and also trying to grow themselves and being surrounded by them, like in my family, like in my loop, it's amazing. It's like, you guys are my team. And that's what we learn about too, is being a team. So
the personal growth mindset, it's probably maybe like 7 or 8 years ago that I even really considered it. Similar to maybe how I hold it now, like really thinking that, okay, my life where it is, it's okay, but I want it to be better. How can I do it? Focusing, like just having the thoughts that hit me be ones of getting better, improving. And certainly it's not every day, not everything's perfect, far from it, but just recognizing that if I find ways to improve myself, that my life improves, and hopefully the people I come in contact with can somehow take from that and their life will improve. Just really making that a focus where there's a time in my life where I didn't think that way. And I'd imagine not everyone thinks that way. Not everyone has to think that way, but if you haven't thought that way before, I think it's something that it's worth like letting that thought bounce around your mind a little bit of, what can I do to improve myself, and really making it a focus. And I think going to this event, it sticks with you in a way that if we didn't spend all those hours we did in that room and interacting with the people there, I think it can be something, it'd be easier to forget about it and just kind of do whatever else you were doing. But now it's having just come from there, it's really sticking with me. And that's one of the reasons I'm having this conversation with you today is, and maybe you remember the moment, we go through a bunch of different exercises, but one of the exercises has everyone going around the room after trying to really figuring out what is your purpose and your vision for your life, like things that I don't know, I never used to think about. And one of my earlier episodes, I used my purpose in my vision, and I guess I'll repeat it here because this is what it was. And I don't think these things are untrue, but I realize that maybe I can refine this. So my previous vision for my life, I had stated on episodes 3 and 4 I had with my friend John Haddon, and we kind of went over these things, was to end the suffering related to race, religion, and sexual orientation. That there's a lot of people suffering because somewhere someone has more power than them in one of these ways, and their life isn't as good as it could be because someone doesn't like them for who they are, basically. And my purpose is learn, educate, and make lives better. And those things I find to be true still. But I went through this exercise again, and I feel like, although it's still, what I just said is still true, I've also come up with different ways to phrase that might be more effective. Yes. And so one is, and it was one of these two that through this exercise kind of randomly, we bumped into each other, and then I shared, I forget which one it was.
The vision, I believe. Was it the vision?
So the two that I have written down are showing people how to love other people.
Yes.
Because in that room, over the course of a weekend, you realize that not everyone is getting the love that they want and need. Some of it like romantic love, perhaps, but also just having people close in their life. And the word that we talked about earlier already on our conversation today was connection. Right. Like, I think some people are great at connecting. Some people aren't as good with that skill, and they don't find their way to that, either because their confidence isn't good enough to like allow for that to happen, or their communication skills don't allow for it to happen. And I think I'm pretty good at that. So I want to show other people how to better connect, but also with that, to create an epidemic of love in the world that will indirectly solve problems. So instead of focusing on ending the suffering caused by race, religion, and sexual orientation, I think if you just show people how to love people no matter who they are, some of this stuff, I guess for the whole world at one moment, no, I'm not going to fix everything. But if I can reach people in a way that they connect with new people in a new way, whatever reasons you might have to irrationally dislike some other person for some reason, when you learn how to better love other people just for them existing and being amazing as who they are, I think it's just everything kind of gets better. Yes,
I agree. I think that's something that we really learn there too. For me, it's very crazy because I've had friendships since 5th grade, 6 years. And even though I love those people so much, it's crazy the friendships that you make in 3 days. And those friends that I've made there are some of my closest, I can call my closest friends. And it's hard because they don't live in the same state as me, but it's interesting because every single time you go back there, it's like you weren't gone. And that's what they say, like, is if you don't see somebody for, say, 5 months and you go back and it feels like no time has passed, like those are usually your strongest friendships. And I can say very clearly that girls that I've met there and guys that I've met there are some of my strongest friends, and they're from California and Florida and Arizona. And it's just crazy how connected people get when you're there. Like, you meet people, and even adults there that I can trust, and like I can ask for a lot of recommendations, or they told me like they're always there for them. Like, they'll text with me, they'll like keep up with me, they'll keep up with all of us, and they're huge people in my life. And it's like, I met these people at this place that not even a lot of people know about. And I was able to connect with them on different levels, and I can easily go there and they're just people that I've been, oh my gosh, I haven't seen you in so long. Like, this is amazing. You know, or it's like I go there and I'm like, hey guys, like it feels like it's been no time. You know, it's cool. It's very fascinating.
The environment is,
Yes.
it puts people in position to change their mindset. Maybe not change. I think change is kind of tough, but it'll shift in a way that I think it puts me leaving there in a better position to achieve some of the things that I've kind of thought about doing. But now I'm leaving there just ready to do it, and having this conversation with you and talking about some of these things. And not everyone that ever hears this conversation between you and I is going to go there. I understand that.
Right.
I would like everyone to.
I would. Me too.
But if they're not, that I'd hope that just by maybe keep listening to my podcast or whatever else is a similar vibe about it, I want to try to show some of the things that I've learned about myself and through people that I know, and ways that we can always look to improve. And I want to share that with my audience. So that's going to be a greater focal point on People I Know show moving forward, is the personal growth part that I put in the tagline for the show, but I don't think I've been emphasizing as much. So that's moving forward. I'm going to try some new things to really focus on that. And you helped me to explain this today is a good thing. And actually, going back to the moment though, where I told you, I forget which one of those two things that I just said, my purpose or my vision, but I asked you, do you think I can do it? And what did you say? Do you remember?
I think I said...
Like the morning before, we had done something together as a family.
Yes. So we climbed Camelback Mountain, and that was the first time I had ever done it. I think you might have done it.
One other
Chuck
time.
And Chase and AJ had already done it one time before. Me and Chloe had never done this before. And Chase was like sprinting up the mountain. Like he got done in like 30 minutes. And this was like... I think Chloe looked at the sign and it said like extreme climb, like high, like level, like climbing. And you had told me before, I asked you if you're going to do it with us. And you said, if I'm going to do it, like I'll do it. Like if I tell myself I'm going to do it, like I'm going to do it, or something in that way. Like you're talking about how you're supposed to be running a Spartan. And you said you hadn't trained for it yet. I'm like, Curt, isn't that in like 2 months? And you said, you claim to be out of shape, but you're like, if I tell myself I can do it, like I'll do it. And you said, I'm probably the most out of shape of all of you, but yet you still finished before me and Chloe. So you set your mind to it. And then I told you at Core, when you told me that, I was like, I think you can do it, because once you put your mind to something, like you do it, and you did it, like just like climbing the mountain, like you didn't die, obviously, or fall like Chuck did. But
well, he didn't fall off the mountain. Because you could fall off the mountain depending on where you were, but where he fell, he just kind of stumbled, and he hurt himself a little bit, but he shook it off. And
we love you, Chuck.
I'd done it before. So the first time I climbed that mountain, and I'd never climbed a mountain before either, and climbing a mountain, I don't think that's a good way of expressing it necessarily, because mountains are all different sizes, and the severity of like how steep and challenging it is. I don't know what it's like to climb other mountains. In fact, that's the only mountain I've ever climbed. It's not a huge mountain, but the trail that we took, in some moments, it's fairly steep. It's certainly challenging. People that are in bad shape probably couldn't do it. Yeah. I'm in maybe my worst shape I've been in a couple of years, because I just haven't been, the winter in Minnesota, I haven't really been doing much exercise. But what I learned from the first time is you go up this mountain, you think you're near the top, and then you're not near the top at all. It's just like an optical illusion. So what I realized this time is I didn't remember what it looked like as I got close to the top. I just knew that if I kept on making my steps and if I just kept going, eventually there is a top. I've been there. I know how to get there. So to me, I wasn't that intimidated by it, because I knew I would get there. I just keep going. I'll get there.
Yes.
But when you talk about like me fulfilling my vision or my purpose, I will do my absolute best, but I don't know what it looks like to get there. So it's a different thing.
Yes. It's an out of your comfort zone.
I do have I have the capability of having a mindset of achieving, and I guess that's where I am right now. I'm going to try to find a way to make this podcast something that really achieves at least a part of my vision and my purpose, to show people how to love other people by me having conversations with people that I know and connecting with them in ways that maybe people hadn't quite considered how to have a really great and connecting conversation. And I need to get better at it too.
Yeah.
And we've known each other for a long time, so I think it's easier for us. But when I'm talking with someone I don't know as well, but I know, that's going to be a challenge for me. And I look forward to that challenge too.
Zone.
I don't know if it's out of my comfort zone. My skill level there isn't as good as it maybe could be or will be.
Yes. Yeah. I would say even taking the skills that you learn from core, because most of the people that go there, you don't know. You've never met in your entire life. So, and you start talking to them. Like, you do exercises where you literally have to run up them with your fingers up your nose saying, I'm good enough. Like, or, it's just.
It puts you in a position. I think it forces people that aren't that social to at least demonstrate that they can be. And it's good for me. I'm way better. And I think episode 10 of this podcast with Brad Blaha, we talked about this. I was just on a cruise prior to that episode with him. And on this cruise, I met so many people in a way that I don't know what got into me, but I was making friends left and right.
I didn't know that.
And I know that I have that in me now. So as I go back into the real world again, I need to recognize that random people that I come across, I can try to connect with them. We all could try to do it. I think there's a lot of reasons not to. We think there are, but I'm going to think of how about for the reasons that there are worth connecting. And I'm going to, that's one of my steps I need to take now is do more and more of that in a way and try different things, just trying new things to see if they work and to see what works best for me. Yeah.
Even reaching out to people and talking to them. We actually came back and one of the guys in our group, in the teen group, texted in our group and he said, yeah, I was flying back on Delta and the gentleman next to me was asking me how I liked my experience, like how my flight is going. And he ended up being the CEO of Delta, asking a teenager like how he thought the flight was going. Like, oh, do you like Delta? Like, do you think it's like a good flight? Like, are you enjoying it? Like, is there anything like you think could be better? And he had no idea. And then he goes on to have this conversation with this guy. Basically, he could have been telling him Delta sucks. And this is the CEO of Delta sitting next to him. So you just never know, honestly, who the person is sitting next to you. In an airplane, at the grocery store, in the grocery line, like getting to talk to people. Like if you see somebody and you smile at them, like don't be afraid to say hi. Like you just don't know. Like you honestly, could you imagine like be sitting on a plane next to the CEO of Delta asking you how you're liking your flight? And you could tell him that it absolutely sucks. And he would.
and that would, whatever would come out of that. But I guess I think of it as this, is to be able to be more confident than you were before and have better communication skills than you did before. When that type of opportunity might arise, you'll be a better version of yourself so that this influential person sitting next to you might see something in you that helps get you somewhere you never envisioned going. And that's why I think it is important to more often than we do pull our heads away from our phones and look around. And if there is a conversation that you can possibly start it. And I'm going to have to start living that too and just see kind of where that goes.
Yeah, for sure. It's free networking. If you think about it, they say college is a great opportunity for networking, but talking to people next to you, like, could you imagine you could start a business with the person that you're sitting next to? Like, you know, you can ended up going on this spontaneous trip with this person and then being your best friend for the rest of your life, just like spontaneously being with a random roommate. Like this person could be my best friend, or they could be somebody I never talk to again.
And we're talking somewhat about hypotheticals, but I think without knowing for a fact that this has happened, like this does happen. This happens to people. And then I think we can think, oh, that person's lucky. Well, maybe if you want to use the term luck, but that would be a situation where you create your own luck by being the type of person that is improving themselves and having the type of personality where if somehow this possible situation might arise, that it will arise because of that's who you are, who you've become by working towards just being a more confident version of yourself, and let yourself just be who you are, but be confident in it. And, something good can happen and will happen periodically if you are more confident than you used to be.
Yes. Yeah. I totally agree with that. I think that's very true.
It's now time for the Being Wrong segment here with my niece, my 18-year-old niece. By the time anyone sees this or hears this, Mikayla Torfin. Mikayla, 18, looking back at your life, what's something that you can now say that you were wrong about?
I would say I used to think that it was okay for people to kind of be able to tell me like who I'm supposed to be, like as a person, like how I'm supposed to act, like I'm supposed to act a certain way so that people like me, or I need to act this way so that then I can fit into a group of like, say, girls that I was really wanted to be friends with for whatever reason. Like at the time, this was kind of like when I was growing up, like 9th grade, I would listen to what other people would say and change who I was to try to be who people liked. And because I wanted to fit in. And as a lot of girls growing up, that's kind of a thing, is like there's so much drama and so much you have to fit in this group. And if you're not in this group, then you're not like a loser, but you're not cool and you're not doing all the fun stuff. And you look at girls and you're like, oh, I want to be friends with them. So you'd be someone that you're not. And I've learned that over the years, that's just not how it works, and it's not okay. You need to be who you are as a person, for sure.
And how has that impacted your relationships since that time that you began to have this realization where you're not acting like the way you think Mikayla Torfin needs to be? Now you're just being yourself. How has that impacted the relationships in your life?
By just being myself, I know that I have true friends. Like, I know I have real people because they love me for who I am, and they're friends with me because of all of my quirky, like weird, goofy, all that self. I don't have to be fake around the people, and I don't have to act like I'm somebody else just because somebody else wants me to be or because I want to fit in. I'm able to have, I guess you could say, authentic friendships. Which is amazing because I know that they're people that I can trust, and I don't have to worry about telling them something and them going and spreading rumors about me or starting drama, because whatever happens and whatever conversations I have with them stay between us.
And now, as you're soon to be, I guess in the fall, heading off to university, this is a skill that maybe not everyone that's going there will have developed this yet, and maybe some people never do. But you'll probably build the best friendships of your life because this will be you, a random group of people, and you get to just be this best version of yourself and not try to be someone you're not, and kind of see how that all falls into place. But I think for you, it'll go very well.
Yeah, I've learned to love myself for who I am, for sure. And it's like a fresh start. It's like a new, like, these people don't know who you are. So no matter what you've done in the past, no matter the mistakes that you've made, the things that you've learned, like, they don't know who you are. So it's like a brand new, fresh start. So you meet these people, and I've learned to kind of recognize, like, Mikayla, you need to be the person that, don't be fake. Like, you need to be the person that you are, because whoever is supposed to be in your life will be in your life because of that. Don't be somebody that you're not just so you can be around like the cool kids or go to like the cool parties or hang out with the cool people. I don't have to be in that big group of 25 that just went to the Dominican Republic over spring break. Like, I don't need to be in that group.
You can if that's what you want to do.
If I wanted to, but then I know that I wouldn't be being the person that I wanted to, because I'd have to be acting like somebody that I'm not. And that's not, I would say there's a lot of, in my school and high school, people act differently than who they really are.
And that's kind of what high school
is. Kind of
is.
Fake. It's like people be like, you're fake. Like, don't be fake. it's kind of like the new like slang term, like don't be fake.
I think that's what high school is in a way, is everyone's trying to figure themselves out, and everyone's trying to be something, and they don't know what this something is. And some people get really good at whatever this thing is, and some people aren't very good at it. And that leads a lot of people into situations where they're not being themselves. And I'm happy for you that you figured this out at a young enough age where you can use this moving forward, and I think it'll serve you well. Really focus ourselves on personal growth.
Touching back on that, that's actually how I overcame what I've done, something I've like done wrong. Like that's how I figured out that what I was doing was not okay, because that's how I used to be. And going to core helped me learn that I need to be myself, and I need to love myself for who I am, because I am who I am. And people can't change me. And going there, meeting people who love me and care about me and want the exact same thing and are struggling to find that at their high schools, because it's a teen group, so we're all in the certain age range, who have struggled and are struggling to kind of find that. It's amazing to be around. So it taught me that that's not how I'm supposed to be. Like I need to draw away from that. I need to stop thinking that I need to be a part of this group that I don't need to be a part of. And high school is tough.
It is. Mikayla, thank you for joining me today.
You're welcome,
This is something new we haven't done before.
I know.
We'll always have the podcast, and we'll have this video of this moment we shared together, sitting in the basement of your home.
I know.
Here.
I wanted to say this quick. I don't think you realize this maybe, and I kind of forgot about it until this morning, but you keep talking about how I'm going to be 18 on Friday, and actually 18 years ago today, I was supposed to be born, and then I was born on April 12th instead. So I was supposed to be born on April 10th, and I was born 2 days late. Your mom's due
date was April 10th,
it was,
what you're saying.
Yes, and I was 2 days late. So I was supposed to be born today.
You're just procrastinating. I'm a procrastinator too. I get it.
It's just funny how you happened to be videoing this video on the day that I was supposed to be born, and then I was actually born 2 days later, which is when the video is supposed to be coming out. So it's kind of weird.
Well, happy due date of when you're supposed to be born birthday that never was your birthday.
Fun fact.
Thanks, Mikayla. Thanks for doing this with me.
You're welcome, Curdy.
Thanks for listening to People I Know Show. Links are in the show notes for the People I Know Show Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube accounts. Please subscribe or follow those accounts when you visit them. A link is also in the show notes for more information on the Core Strength Experience with Michael Bernoff that Mikayla and I talked about. If you have questions about that event, I'd be happy to have a conversation with you directly. Connect with me on social media or via email. If you'd like to help me make the show grow, and I would like if you would like to help me make the show grow, please leave a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts. And there are other places where you can leave ratings and reviews, but I know not everywhere you might be listening. Another way to help is to subscribe to the podcast and interact with the social media posts that I make and other content online that's related to People I Know Show. Just make sure you share it or interact with it. Please also, you can encourage at least one other person to listen to this episode, or maybe there's another episode that you like, and you can always share the episodes on social media. And to email your feedback directly to me, Curt Karstensen, you can use the email address peopleiknowshow@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.